Hi, welcome to this early podcast. I want to share with you today a story about myself, part of my personal journey, which in the last few months has been really challenged. And I'm going to share with you the resources that I tap into when it's like that. So last year, I had started a new program combining positional breathing techniques with strength training. Really fantastic coach Jess Buckley in the US. And I was really strict that I was going 3 times a week. I made space in my diary, so I was prioritizing it. I had structured my plan well. I knew that I had absolute support from Jess in whatever I needed and that I could listen to myself. She knows that I have a certain amount of knowledge and that I know myself. So in those 2 things that I could make adjustments accordingly. I also, I'm going to sneeze. I also, it was a time when I was getting quite a lot of migraines again, a lot of headaches. And so I would sometimes have to skip a day, but I would always make sure that I put it in another time in the week. When things were confronting for me, or I really didn't feel it, or I had old stories coming up of I can't and crap and all of those things that can happen, I had a conversation with them. I made space for them. I listened. I just made space to listen and still also be with myself in the current reality that I was that I was aware of, that I was engaging with, and that was training in the way that was best for me on that day. And so I could be with this kind of duality, and that served me really, really well. Jess was super supportive. And then in December, I just got a series of illnesses. I got really bad COVID that completely knocked me for 2 weeks. I then, in the next week, came back to work, got another cold, and was completely knocked back down. That turned into a migraine. I went out for a walk. I pulled my back. I couldn't sit down for 2 days. Christmas Eve, I had to get emergency treatment from a friend, who, thank God, thank you, Tom. And I then was really tired for most of my way into January. I was really careful because I'd had burnout before. I know my immune system, it's that inverse relationship with cortisol, right? So when your cortisol is high, your immune system is low. And there are elements of my life that kind of mean that there are spikes in cortisol, not irregularly. So I do a lot of kind of breathing, meditating, but I'm aware that it can really impact my immune system. And I was also, because of the change and I'd had time off work, I had to come back into work more, January, February. And I'd started working again in London 1 day a week. So my whole schedule had changed. I was still kind of in this recovery phase, just being really careful, tiptoeing. And I didn't have space to get back into the gym. And the longer that I left it, the more my confidence dropped. And I was getting that same feeling of I don't belong there. I'm crap. I'm going to be weak and I'm going to have to start again. That was the biggest thing is I've been going so consistently and really starting to make ground, and I was going to have to start again. And, that thought of, I don't ever want to have to start again, and how do we maintain that contact with just doing enough that keeps us with the reality of movement and a degree of training and just small challenge to the tissues that keeps the whole process going, maintains a level. So that's really important, and it was something that I wasn't doing. Certainly I wasn't doing in December. I had no capacity to do anything in December, I really didn't. I had very little capacity in January. February I could have pulled my finger out. more, definitely. And I was doing little bits, but I probably could have done more. But it was this little internal, now I'm scared. And I think the way that I've come to realize is, you know, these different parts of us, we really have the volume control. We have so much capacity as human beings. And you guys know that I really believe this. This is one of my central tenets. I've always been in awe of human capacity, you know, physical capacity, emotional capacity, intellectual capacity. We just have so much available to us. My God, right? So it's like, okay, but here's my other thing. You can't leave out the heart. Because if you just go into, let's do this fucking thing, then more often than not, we're performing, proving, or pleasing, right? And that's not achieving anything for us internally. It has to come from the inside. Any of those three things are going to come from the outside, basically. And so knowing that, okay, I can use enough of my drive, enough of my resilience to get with this thing that's hard and confronting. And I can hold enough of my heart awareness there to say, yeah, you don't feel great about this, and I know you can do it. Let's just be in this together. You know, really having a conversation and letting those different parts have a seat at the table. Because I think really it's only when we account for all of those aspects and we go through that confronting part of change, whether it's small short-term change like mine was, or big long-term change. You know, we have to be able to have everybody at the table, all the parts of us at the table, and know who we're listening to at a given time. And that's really where priorities come in. It's where boundaries and other forms of protection come in. It's where self-awareness comes in. And every time I'm back in this place and I pull on my own 6 Ps, my perceptions, what's my perception of this moment? My voice of, I'm crap, I can't do this, I don't belong here. Well, that's crap, right? That's bullshit. So my perception and the feelings and sensations that it brings up in me, it's like, okay, I can recognize that. I can be with that. And then let's also give voice to this other part that wants to go and do this other thing. Let's go and get in touch with that part of myself that's brave. Let's get in touch with that part of myself that is resilient. Like, I know I can get through a lot, right? I'm a very adaptable human being. And as we all are. And I'm lucky that I've resourced that consistently through my life. That's probably my top characteristic. I'm adaptable. And the 6 Ps have really served me in my own process. And so if you want to know more about that, 6 Ps, drop a little DM at the bottom of this and I will send you a sheet of the 6 Ps and how to use them for the big and small changes in your life. And if you want to have more of a conversation or find out more specific parts of that, drop me a message and I can do some more podcasts like this to share that with you. I'm wishing you a great rest of the weekend.